Have you ever seen someone try so hard to ruin everyone's fun, only to end up embarrassing themselves in front of the entire town? Well, that's exactly what happened when Karen showed up at the Sunshine Festival. From shouting at kids to shutting down games, she thought she was in control, until karma struck back in the funniest way possible. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you don't miss more unbelievable Karen stories just like this one. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens in the end. It was a bright Saturday morning in the small town of Willow Creek. The annual Sunshine Festival had just begun, a day filled with music, food stalls, laughter, and families gathered to celebrate the end of summer. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze. Children darted through the crowds holding cotton candy, and the smell of roasted corn and funnel cakes hung in the air. Everyone seemed to be in high spirits. Well, almost everyone. That's when she appeared. Karen. Sunglasses too big for her face, clutching a designer purse as if it were a crown jewel, and already scowling at the sight of long lines and noisy kids. From the moment she stepped into the festival grounds, it was clear Karen wasn't there to have fun. She was there to control, to complain, and to make sure everyone else suffered right along with her. First, she stormed up to the ticket booth. "This line is ridiculous. Do you know who I am? I shouldn't have to wait with them," she snapped, waving her hand toward the patiently waiting families. The poor volunteer, a high school student earning community service hours, nervously explained that everyone had to wait their turn. But Karen wasn't used to hearing the word no. Finally, she shoved her way forward, muttering under her breath, "Unbelievable. I'll be speaking to whoever runs this festival." Little did she know, her entitled tantrum was only just beginning. And so was the festival's silent revenge. As Karen strutted into the main square, she began loudly criticizing everything. The music was too loud, the kids were too rowdy, the food smelled greasy, and even the face painter wasn't doing a good enough job. Parents tried to ignore her, teenagers rolled their eyes, and vendors exchanged looks of silent annoyance. But what no one expected was that Karen's determination to ruin everyone's day would come back around in ways she could never imagine. The stage was set for her humiliation, and it all started when she decided to pick a fight with the wrong person. Karen's heels clacked against the pavement as she marched, straight toward the lemonade stand. It was run by two kids, siblings, no older than 10, proudly handing out fresh lemonade with wide smiles. Their parents had set up the booth to raise money for the local animal shelter, and the little ones were excitedly waving hand-drawn signs that said, "Support our furry friends." But instead of being charmed, Karen wrinkled her nose. "This is outrageous," she declared, slamming her hands on the counter. $2 for lemonade? What kind of scam is this?" The kids froze, unsure of how to respond. Behind them, their mother stepped in gently. "Ma'am, it's for charity. All the money goes to helping rescue dogs." Karen scoffed loudly, drawing the attention of nearby festival-goers. "Charity? Please, I've seen better lemonade at the supermarket. And don't you dare overcharge me. I'll pay $1, and that's being generous." The children's eyes welled up with tears, but their mother stayed calm. "The price is the same for everyone, ma'am. If you'd rather not buy, that's fine." The crowd began whispering, shaking their heads at Karen's behavior. But she wasn't finished. "I'll be reporting this booth for fraud. Exploiting children for money? Disgusting!" she barked. That's when a tall man stepped forward. He wore a volunteer badge and happened to be one of the festival coordinators. With a calm but firm voice, he said, "Ma'am, there's nothing fraudulent about this booth. In fact, it's one of our most popular fundraisers. If you don't want lemonade, please step aside and let others enjoy." But Karen didn't like being told to step aside. "Who do you think you're talking to?" she snapped, hands on her hips. "I'll have this entire festival shut down if I have to. You clearly don't know the kind of connections I have." The man didn't flinch. He simply smiled and said, "Connections or not, rules apply to everyone here. If you continue harassing our vendors, you'll be escorted out." The surrounding crowd erupted in applause. The children, cheeks flushed with relief, handed free cups of lemonade to the cheering bystanders. For the first time, Karen's confidence seemed to falter, but her ego wouldn't let her back down just yet. Narrowing her eyes, she hissed, "Fine. If you won't treat me with respect, I'll take my business elsewhere. But mark my words, you'll regret this." She stormed off, muttering insults under her breath. But as she disappeared into the crowd, people could already sense it. This was only the beginning of her spiral. Karen was hunting for her next target, and the moment she found it, the entire festival would hold its breath. Karen stalked through the festival like a storm cloud, her face twisted in irritation. Every laugh, every cheer, every smile seemed to fuel her rage. She wasn't just unhappy, she was determined to spread that unhappiness to everyone else. Her next stop? The pie-eating contest. Families had gathered around a long wooden table where contestants, mostly kids and teens, sat eagerly waiting for the signal to start. A row of warm, freshly baked pies sat before them, and the crowd buzzed with excitement. The announcer, a cheerful man with a booming voice, raised the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the Sunshine Festival's most delicious challenge, the annual pie-eating contest." Cheers erupted, but just as the countdown began, Karen pushed her way through the crowd. "Stop! Stop this at once!" she shrieked, waving her arms like she was halting traffic. The announcer blinked in confusion. Ma'am, what seems to be the problem?" Karen jabbed a finger toward the pies. "This is unsanitary. These children are about to shove their faces into food with no gloves, no napkins, and no proper hygiene. I demand this contest be canceled immediately." The crowd groaned. Parents rolled their eyes, kids sighed, and even the announcer struggled to keep his smile. "Ma'am, it's a tradition. The pies are safe, baked fresh by our local bakery, and everyone signed up willingly." But Karen wasn't backing down. She marched right up to the table, nearly knocking over a tray of extra pies. "If you people cared about your children, you wouldn't let them humiliate themselves like this. Honestly, what kind of parents are you?" That was it. The crowd snapped. Boos erupted. People shouted at her to leave, and one little boy at the table yelled, "You're ruining everything." Flustered but refusing to admit defeat, Karen raised her chin. "Fine. If no one else will protect these children, then I will." Before anyone could stop her, she grabbed one of the pies, planning to snatch it off the table as evidence. But in her dramatic flourish, she slipped on a spilled soda cup. The pie flew from her hands and, splat, landed squarely in her own face. The crowd gasped, then burst into uncontrollable laughter. Whipped cream dripped from her hair, blueberries smeared across her sunglasses, and her once perfect outfit was a disaster. For the first time all day, Karen didn't have a single word to say. She stood frozen, red-faced beneath the pie, as the announcer leaned into the microphone. "Well, folks, looks like we've got a surprise contestant after all." The audience roared with laughter. Cameras came out. Karen's humiliation had officially gone viral. But this was only the middle of her downfall. Things were about to get even worse. Karen stormed away from the pie contest, wiping cream and berries from her face with shaky hands. Her sunglasses were crooked, her hair was sticky, and her once pristine outfit looked like it had lost a food fight. But worst of all, everywhere she went, people were pointing, laughing, and whispering. "Did you see her face?" One teenager snickered. "Serves her right," muttered a father, holding his daughter's hand. Phones were out. Videos were already being shared. Karen's meltdown wasn't just local news anymore. It was quickly becoming everyone's entertainment. But Karen wasn't done. No, her pride wouldn't let her leave quietly. She spotted the festival manager, a calm, middle-aged woman in a sunflower hat, speaking with volunteers near the main stage. Determined to reclaim control, Karen marched right up to her. "You!" she barked. "This festival is a disgrace. Your staff is incompetent, your food is unsafe, and your attendees are downright rude. I demand a public apology and free passes for the rest of the year." The manager blinked, then folded her arms. "Ma'am, I think you owe us an apology. You've disrupted booths, insulted families, and assaulted our pie contest. I've received 3 complaints already from other people about you." Karen's face turned redder than the strawberry filling still clinging to her jacket. "How dare you accuse me? Do you even know who I am? I could have this entire event shut down with a single phone call." The manager's calm smile never wavered. "Go ahead, call whoever you like. Meanwhile, we'll keep enjoying the festival." The crowd, which had been quietly gathering, erupted into cheers. Someone shouted, "Kick her out!" Another yelled, "Ban Karen!" Chants began to ripple. "Out! Out! Out!" Karen spun in a circle, horrified to realize she was completely surrounded by people united against her. Children pointed, parents sneered, and teens recorded every second. She tried to shout back, "You're all ungrateful. You'll regret this." But her voice was drowned out by laughter and chanting. Finally, the festival security team stepped forward. They weren't aggressive, but their presence was enough. One of them gently said, "Ma'am, I think it's time you leave." Karen gasped, clutching her ruined purse like a shield. "Leave? Me? I am the victim here." But the public wasn't buying it anymore. The humiliation was complete. The once confident Karen was now a walking punchline. Her tantrums turned into memes before she had even left the grounds. And yet, her downfall wasn't quite finished, because fate had one last perfectly timed twist waiting for her. Karen stomped toward the festival exit, dragging her sticky heels across the pavement. Her hair was matted with pie filling, her shirt stained, and her purse smelled faintly of lemon from when she had brushed past the charity stand. Behind her, the crowd was still buzzing, laughing, and sharing videos. She muttered furiously under her breath, "Idiots, every last one of them. They'll see. They'll all see." But karma wasn't finished yet. Just as she approached the parking lot, Karen spotted a small crowd gathered around a tent where winners were receiving raffle prizes. Curious eyes followed her, but she ignored them until the announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. "And the grand prize winner of the Sunshine Festival raffle. Congratulations to ticket number 237. Please come forward to claim your prize." Karen froze. She knew that number. She had bought a ticket earlier, before her sour mood had fully taken over. Her hand flew to her purse. She yanked out the crumpled ticket, and sure enough, 237. For the first time all day, Karen smiled. Finally, a win. Something to turn this nightmare around. She pushed through the crowd, holding up her ticket like a golden pass. "Excuse me, that's me, I won. Step aside, people." The announcer raised an eyebrow but accepted her ticket. "Well, looks like it's official. Congratulations, ma'am. You've won." He paused dramatically. "A year's supply of pies, donated by our wonderful bakery sponsor." The crowd erupted into laughter so loud it shook the air. A year of pies, after her public pie-faced disaster. The irony was too perfect. Karen's jaw dropped. "Pies? Pies? You've got to be joking," she screeched. "This is harassment. A setup. I will not accept this humiliation." But the crowd wasn't letting her escape. Phones went up again, cheers rang out, and the announcer leaned into the microphone with a grin. "Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our pie champion, Karen." The crowd clapped, whistled, and laughed until tears rolled down their cheeks. Karen, red-faced and trembling, tried to storm away, but her heel caught in the grass. She stumbled, fell forward, and landed face first in one of the prize pies stacked on the table. The laughter reached a fever pitch. Children pointed, adults doubled over, and even the security guards couldn't help chuckling. Defeated, covered in pie yet again, Karen scrambled to her feet and fled the festival for good. The Sunshine Festival carried on joyfully without her, the day brighter than ever. And as for Karen, her story became the town's favorite legend of instant karma, proof that sometimes, the harder you try to ruin everyone's day, the more spectacularly you ruin your own. And there you have it. Karen tried to ruin the festival, but instead, she walked away as the town's ultimate punchline. Instant karma doesn't get any better than that. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, Drop a comment telling us your favorite part. And of course, subscribe for more wild Karen tales every day. Because remember, when a Karen shows up, chaos follows. And karma is always watching.